Hi, welcome back to 2cells1pack.
We recently put out a poll asking for some questions that you guys may have that you want our answer to. And today we've collected some of them and we're going to answer them for you today. So without further ado, let's go.
Let's start with the first question. How did you get into EUC and what was your EUC journey?
So my journey and Christine's journey was a little bit different. Um, I run a restaurant. I did run a restaurant and COVID hit. So the restaurant business went down and was very not so busy. And so I was finding things to do. And one of the things I stumbled upon was I believe it was Kuji's video on riding an electric unicycle. So I went out and secretly bought a InMotion V8F. And of course, with anybody who's bought a wheel that doesn't know how to ride, it always goes like this. Does it work? Can you show me how it works? Perfect, I'll buy it. Because I didn't know how to ride. And so I took the full trust of the seller and I purchased this wheel. And I secretly found time to go into a mall underground parking lot.
Secretly.
And I would charge my car secretly. And while my car was charging, I would be learning how to ride in this mall. Now, because it was COVID, the mall was empty. But I learned many times that the wheel can run away from you. And when it runs away from you in a concrete parking lot, it is quite scary. So that is my journey. What is yours?
So when you first started, I didn't know at all. So when he told me, I don't remember when I found all he told me, I said one sentence.
You're going to die.
You're going to die. Exactly. That's what I said. You're going to die and I'm not going to stand on this thing. Nope. And then he got me what is that?
A scooter.
An e-scooter. I don't even know what
e-scooter.
that is anymore. An e-scooter because I wanted to go out with him while he was having so much fun, right? So he got me an e-scooter and I'm so happy just riding my little scooter around the park. And that's the beginning of my PEV journey. And then as time passed by, with the e-scooter, you have to hold on to the handlebar. And it's always shaking, and I got all this heat rash so easily. And I hated it. So after that, I asked him, maybe I'll try that little thing. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'll give it a try because I'm so done with all this rash. So I gave it a try. I went to this EUC university that one of the member in our community and Albert started at UC University. So I went there every Sunday and I just practiced in an empty parking lot and about 5 sections and I got it. And that's the beginning
So
of it.
thanks to Dan Travers
Yes.
for coming out and helping teach people how to ride.
Mm-hmm.
Ironically, we taught people at an abandoned police station. But again, because COVID, there's no one around.
Yeah.
And we taught many people how to ride in that parking lot. So it was quite successful. Now, what advice do you have to someone who wants to get their partner to ride an EUC?
Most likely it's a female, right? How did you get them?
Yeah, how would someone who's what do they call that? A wheelman?
A wheelman?
A wheelman? How can they get a wheelman to get their partner to ride EUC or convince their partner to ride EUC?
There's a trick to it. You gotta get a community, because female, they will battle inside, not outside. It's all happy out there, but inside they will compete. I learned alone though.
Yeah.
I was alone, but when we were teaching everyone else, and what we found is easier to work and teach them in a group of female together. That will be a lot easier.
So you heard it yourself. If you want to get someone to learn how to ride and they're a female, you have to find other females to compete with each other underground secretly and teach them all how to ride at the same time. So that's like a double date, triple date, quadruple date kind of scenario.
Yes, that's a good one.
Now, if someone doesn't have the ability to find a double date, triple date, quadruple date, what kind of helped you or motivate you to learn how to ride by yourself?
On myself, it's basically I want to spend time with you. Because you're always out riding and I don't get to spend time with him. What am I gonna do? Just sit here at home waiting? When is he coming back? Oh, why is he having fun? Why am I not?
So you're telling guys to just go out for rides until the girl...
Invite the girl to go out. Let's come out with me. I'll get you something first. Let's go on a date. Oh, you brought me to ice cream.
I did?
Yeah.
With a wheel?
Something like that. Something. Like, if this is a like dinner date or afternoon tea date, I don't know what that is. Bring her to a place that she really likes.
And then?
That's what happened. I like ice cream and you brought me to ice cream.
But then how do you convert? Oh, let's ride there.
It's right there.
But then she doesn't know how to ride yet.
And then start with a scooter or e-bike. That's how I started.
So slowly get them into the PEV world and then somehow transition them from scooter to EUC.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I fell a couple of times on scooter too. Because you rode on sand with your EUC and I followed you with my scooter and I wiped out.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, how come you can ride on sand and I cannot ride on sand? How come you can jump off curb? I cannot jump off curb.
I will always remember one sentence. We were out on a ride and there was this one time, I believe we were in Stanley Park and we're on one of these trails and she looks at me and she says, how come it looks like you're having so much fun and I'm here getting shaken by this trail?
I'm struggling. I'm not having fun at all.
So I think that was a key moment then. If you want someone to ride, take them somewhere that they enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Try to use a PV of some sort to get there, to kind of
start the journey.
Mm-hmm. And kind of get their feet wet and support them.
Yeah.
But of course, if you can do double date, triple date, quadruple date, that is the best way to do it.
So, we do hear a lot, oh, she can do it, I can do it too.
But it only works for female versus female competitiveness. Female versus male competitiveness does not exist.
Yeah.
So
it will always be, he is crazy. The guys are crazy. That's why they die earlier, right? It always someone like that. But yes, with other female. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next question. Which older non-suspension wheel do you see yourself keeping for a long time?
Non-suspension wheel. I only rode a 16 and Sherman and Commander. That's it. Mm-hmm. I haven't tried any other that are non-suspension. So just based on my own experience, I would keep a Sherman.
Okay.
Because it has a range. It can go at a decent speed. And I did trails with it too. It's not bad. The weight is not bad. It has good handle, easy to trolley around. So that's a wheel that I would keep.
I mean, it probably helped that I painted it purple. So for me, this is a bit of a trick question because you're asking me which one I would keep. But if you look at my stable, you'll realize that we actually didn't keep any non-suspension wheels. So I think that the future of EUC has suspension. And as much as a non-suspension wheel is good for learning good habits, I think in the long run, I think suspension is the way to go, unfortunately. But however, if I were to keep a suspension wheel, it would most likely be the Sherman. It was quite reliable. I did keep that unit for a while. We had it for about almost a year and a half, I would say. So I think it would be a Sherman if I were to keep a non-suspension wheel. Probably the Sherman Max though. So we had a regular Sherman, but if I were to keep a non-suspension wheel for the longer run, it would be a Sherman Max. And the reason why is the axle is much stronger on it. The next question comes from I2X2, And they asked us, what is your number one go-to wheel? However, I feel like we need to kind of break it down because in 2023 and going into 2024, we have lots of wheels for niches of niches. So if you're a trail rider, there's a trail riding wheel for you. If you're a jumper, there's a jumping wheel for you. If you're a commuter, there's a commuting wheel for you. So we're going to split this into 3 categories. The first one is trails. The second one is commuting. And then the third one will be average group rides. So as a caveat, our average group ride that we normally go on is around 60 to 100 kilometers in range and is a mix of trails and road riding. So when we go out for a larger group ride, we'd like to do the mix of everything.
Yeah.
So let's start with trails. What's your number one go-to wheel for trails?
Extreme. Everyone knows.
I think for me, it'd be the Extreme as well. Like it's a very nimble wheel. It's very easy to point. So if you're doing technical off-roading, it's super easy to maneuver. And the suspension's really good. I did a couple 4-foot drops on the air shock and I was fine.
I'm surprised why not the Master?
The Master requires a lot of modification to get to the point where it's good in trails.
Good.
Out of the box, the Extreme does really well.
Coming out of the box. But you do like bigger tires for trails, right?
So the big tire versus small tire debate in trails is the bigger the diameter, the less that roots and rocks and tree trunks and all this kind of obstacles feel under your wheel. So when I ride my Master Pro in a trail, I'm just cruising along, similar to like in the city, you know, just cruising, and I roll over everything, and I don't really feel that much. Okay. Yes, it's heavy, but when I'm going over obstacles, you don't really feel any of it. Nothing feels daunting. When I ride an Extreme or I ride a patent in a trail, I find myself being more technical with it because I want to avoid this tree trunk, I want to avoid that tree trunk. So you can kind of go around obstacles, you can go over obstacles, you can choose your path really technically. But I think that a 20-inch is a really good sweet spot between the two where you have a bit of nimbleness, but you are not cumbersome down by such a big rotation. So yes, if I were to take a Master, spend the $1,000 or more to upgrade the suspension and the fairings and all this, then yes, I would use a Master in a trail or even an S22 in a trail. I do like the pedal height advantage that you get also from bigger wheels compared to the smaller wheels. But again, out of the box, I would say the Extreme is my go-to wheel.
That would be Extreme for sure because of the weight. So much easier for me to control, to manipulate it. And suspension is just good on it. Yep.
What is your go-to wheel for commuting? Now, with a bit of a caveat before we get into this category, both of us don't really commute with wheels that much. We both drive, which is unfortunate. But if we were to commute, what would be your wheel for commuting?
First of all, from my house, going to work, with stairs, lifting up and down, different scenarios between different person, right? Maybe an A2.
Okay.
Because my work to my house is just like a 10 minutes drive, let's say. And I have to lift up a big set of stairs. Whatever I can carry, I think it's just an A2.
And I mean, it's waterproof, so you don't have to worry about weather
That's
either.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
Suspension, I don't really need it just for commuting for like 10 minutes.
You can always upgrade the suspension of the A2.
That's good. That's good.
The V11 style suspension on an A2. It exists. You can buy it.
Give it a try.
One day.
Oh, I don't think I'll.
But we just sold our A2, so we don't even have an A2 anymore.
I don't really think I'll.
We don't really commute.
Ride to work. There's so much stuff to bring with me.
Yeah. So for me, my commute to work is approximately 10 kilometers, let's say. And I think for me to commute, it would either be... Actually, it'd probably be an Extreme. Because I like how small and playful that wheel is. And the suspension is supple, but not too soft and not too firm. My other option B choice would be a patent. But I do remember that when I did a small commute with the patent, in the back of my head, I would be like, I don't want to do those stairs because I don't want to bottom out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to do that curb. I don't want to do this because I don't want to bottom out.
Mm-hmm.
So it ends up being this huge nagging feeling in my mind that I don't have on the extreme.
Mm-hmm. Good to
But of
know.
course, that's because I'm heavier. So I'm a big guy.
All right. The go-to wheel for group rides. A master.
Master?
Mm-hmm. Because we do long range and trails on the same day. So if I pick the extreme, I won't have the range, and I hate.
But the battery's the same between the Master and Extreme.
Are they?
Yeah.
I thought it's
They're both the
bigger,
2400 watt hour.
even the new one,
Yeah.
even if you change it,
It's still
modify it.
2400.
But you can charge faster
Yes, you can charge faster.
on the master.
With 50S cells, yes. I mean, you can get an Extreme with 50S cells. I think your option would probably be just Extreme.
But roll riding though, trails I like smaller wheel. On the roll I like a tiny bit bigger.
For more stability.
Yeah,
So then Master.
I think it's still the master.
Okay. I think for me, it'd probably be an EX30.
Yeah, makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Because then you have the range, you have the speed, you have the stability. I mean, the only thing it doesn't have, well, the thing that it does have that makes it not so great is the lower battery boxes.
Yes, and trails will be
Because in
pretty
trails, I
hard.
have hit the battery boxes on curbs when I try to jump curbs.
But I mean, we're doing a normal group ride.
Normal group ride would
we're-
probably be
it's not too
EX30.
hardcore.
Yeah.
We do trails.
Or a Master
Yeah.
Pro. Because then I don't have range
Yeah.
anxiety and I can still go really fast.
I still want the EX30 though, because I don't need to charge. But it's just, if I go to trails, I just won't have fun. I just won't have fun. That's why sacrifice a little battery and have more fun. Mm-hmm.
So the next question comes from EUC Vibes out in New York.
It's your favorite EUC the same?
We're going to change it. What is your favorite E EUC?
Right now, the extreme. The extreme.
What is my favorite E EUC? Man, that's such a hard question. It's
Because you
so
modify
hard.
all your wheels too.
I think my favorite EUC for just overall use
Mhm.
would be my EX30 Pro.
The EX30 Pro, it's your
My
Master
long range
Pro,
EX30.
Your Master Pro with EX30 motor.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So 4800 watt hour EX30.
Just a very hard question. If you're talking about that, then I like the Master too. What is that called again? What is that?
The Maxter 30?
Master.
Maxter 30?
That is a Master body with a EX30 motor.
Yeah.
That was really good. So, out of the box, it's extreme.
Okay.
Super hard question. Let us know what's your favorite one.
So the next question comes from Andrew Baker in Vancouver. What is the worst fall you have ever had?
I had the worst one.
Wait,
is-
before you,
Yes. Okay, go ahead.
I think that you can correct me if I'm wrong,
Yes.
but the worst fall may not be the worst in terms of sustained damage. It may not be the worst in terms of like speed and what happened, but it's, for me at least, I could say it's my most memorable crash where if someone were to ask you, that's the first crash you will remember.
I don't remember my first crash.
No, sorry, not the first crash. The most memorable crash is the worst crash. Is that correct?
True.
Okay. What is your most memorable crash?
Okay, there you go. It was at Tuasin. It's a ferry terminal.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a long straight road, no houses on the side, just ocean. Luckily, it was, I don't know what day it was just pretty empty on the road. And I was just like going on the bike lane, and all of a sudden I felt like, oh shit, I'm going towards the center of the road. It's a highway, by the way. It's a 3-lane highway, and I'm on the bike lane. And I just crossed 3 lanes and crashed into concrete barrier.
And that's with traffic.
Oh, that was one
There was
car
that Audi driver behind you who's like, "What the
following
frick is she
me
doing?"
from the right lane to the left lane because I was on the bike lane, and all of a sudden it was so strong, the wind. I was riding a master. The wind was super strong, and all I remember was just like I couldn't control the wheel. I wanted to go this way, but I'm going this way, and I yelled, "Baby, help me!" And he just looked at me. So I couldn't control myself. I just kept going this way while I wanted to go this way. So I just stopped the car. Stop. And then I just kept going. So the car merged one lane and I followed him. And the car just kept staying behind my back the whole time until I crashed the concrete barrier and the car stopped.
And most likely what was in their mind is, these things are dangerous.
I don't remember what happened. All I remember was the wind was so strong, and that scared Jack too that day.
Yeah, so Electric Juice was actually with us that day. But I have to mention one thing. So we're going on this bike lane, which is the shoulder on the right side. The wind was blowing towards the right side. Okay? However, Christine was getting sucked in by the wind to the left side. And she went all the way to the center concrete barrier and crashed into the barrier.
I was saying 3 lanes on the highway.
I
don't know how that happened.
It's not that we didn't want to help you. It's that when we turned around and we looked at you, we were all very confused.
I don't know what happened. But I was fighting really hard. With that wind, I don't know why. I love physics.
Yeah. Who knows? My most memorable fall or worst fall, I'd have to say, is on the way home from Tawasin.
Same.
We were on this long stretch of road called River Road. There was 12 maybe of us riding together. And it was a really cold and dark night. It was in the winter time, maybe November, December.
I don't know. I wasn't there.
And we were riding, and we were kind of cold. And it's a long stretch of road, so we're all seated. And at this time, it's all non-suspension wheels. So I was riding my Sherman at the time. And we had EXNs and Commanders and everything you can imagine. We're riding down this dark highway. Or not really a highway, dark road, I should say. Dark road. And we were cold, so we started following each other to draft each other's wind bubble. Okay? So I'm tucked in, seated on my wheel, behind the guy in front of me. And we all have Cardo communications, which now we've changed to Senna because of the delay. But I was the third person in line. So the first person, second, third, we were maybe 5 feet, 6 feet away from each other. Mm-hmm. And all I heard was, pothole. And by the time my Cardo registered and I heard it and my brain realized what was happening, I felt my wheel go into the hole, which was 3 inches deep. And when I came out of that hole, it shattered my rim in 4 places and locked up my tire. And I hit the ground faster than I could realize what hit me. And I slid about 30 to 40 feet. And I busted up my arm, I busted up my legs, and I ended up having to call one of our group ride members' wives who was at home to come pick us up. So that was one of the most memorable for me.
I still remember.
And then when I got home, Christine had to bandage me and, try to make sure I didn't bleed. And then I bled all over her Donald.
Oh, that was not fun. And you got a bullet hole in your arm.
It's right here. You can see the bullet hole. That'll forever be with me.
And he came back with a drumstick arm.
It got infected, yeah.
Yeah. That was the most memorable fall, I guess.
Yeah.
But the worst one is like physical damage.
Physical damage would probably be my most recent one. I think TEF one. Actually, no, I think maybe that one, Tawasin.
Still that one?
Yeah, I think so. Because I had the infected arm. I had like my knees were all bloody. I think that was probably my worst fall.
What did you have gear on? Do you remember?
So I was wearing my lazy rolling jacket,
You're being
but I had just
lazy.
washed it and I was being lazy and I didn't realize I was going to be rolling. So I didn't put the pads in.
All right. Speechless. Always put your gear on.
Always wear gear. Since we're talking about gear,
Mm-hmm.
the next question. What is the helmet and safety gear that you use? Or we use?
Please. Mainly because he mentioned with Asians' head, it's a little bit hard to find helmet. So my head shape is actually different from his. I have like two little corners
Bumps.
that's popping out all the time. So it's so hard for me to find helmet. So I have been using the TSG and it's very comfortable for me. And when I just started riding EUC, I wasn't going too fast. So I think the TSG was good for me at that speed. And after that, since we will start going faster and faster, we're now using the, what is that called?
The Klim Krios
Pro. And that helmet is really, really comfortable. And it's super good for winter, but summer, you're
It's
going
hot.
to sweat in there.
So the part that she skipped out was the fact that she didn't want to buy a helmet, and I actually bought her a Shoei helmet, if you remember our reel.
Oh, yes, a Shoei
And that was
helmet.
a quite an expensive helmet, but it didn't fit her that
Because
well.
of those two little pumps.
And we couldn't test fit them because nobody locally was selling them. So I had purchased them from Chrome Burner, and we spent a lot of money shipping to get different sizes. And at the end of the day, it still did not work out for her because the fitment wasn't great. And so when we went to Northwest Electric Fest, she decided to bring her TSG, and we all know what happened there.
I don't remember.
And so after the Northwest Electric Fest, safety gear was priority number one, and so we got that Klim Krios helmet.
Exactly.
But because of what Christine said, it is a little bit hot if you're doing trails in the summer.
In the summer, yeah.
We did purchase another Liat downhill mountain biking helmet for Christine.
But because it's in trail speed-wise, it's very slow, so we don't need such a protective helmet.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the moral of the story is buy the helmet for the speeds you want to go. If you want to go 100 kilometers per hour, then get a motorcycle helmet. If you want to go 20 kilometers per hour, a TSG is fine. If you want to go mountain biking trails, then go ahead and get a mountain biking helmet. So I actually have two mountain biking helmets, one for more casual rides where, speed is not really there. It's a bigger group ride similar to our Squamish trip. So for that ride, I was wearing a Pro Frame. And then there are times where I'll go to more hardcore trails and carry a little bit more speed. And for those trails, I have a Troy Designs downhill mountain biking helmet. So there's no one size fits all when it comes to safety gear for EUCs because we span such a large range of speed. So just make sure that you get the gear for the speed you want to go.
Exactly.
So when I'm doing my high-speed runs on Barnett Highway, I'm wearing leather jackets, full C level 2 gear, leather gloves, full leather basically because I want to slide, and leather has the best abrasion resistance.
Yeah.
But again, when I'm in trails, I'm wearing my Liat 6.5 mesh gear. So you get a little bit more airflow. And in trails, you're not scared of road rash. You're scared most of impact. So with the Liat, you do have all the C level 2 protection to prevent any damage from impacts or bruises.
And we do have our motorcycle pants, paddings here and there. And if we do trails or higher speed ride, then we will add another, what is that?
The Liat dual axis.
Knee pad on it, so it's like double protection. And we do have butt pads too.
Yes, we do. So it covers the hips as well as the tailbone. I always tell people to look for snowboarding gear because the snowboarding gear actually has the full tailbone protection, whereas bicycle gear or motorcycle may
just
lack
only side,
that part because you're sitting on a seat. So in the EUC, because you don't really sit on the seat that much when you're doing trails or more hardcore riding, getting that extra tailbone protection for me is I feel is important.
It is very important. I hurt my hip because I did not have that.
Emotional damage.
The V11. It's been how many years? I couldn't think again. 2 to 3 years at least, and my hip is still in trouble. Thanks to emotion. But again, because I did not have my protection.
What is your ideal length of ride? If you gear up and you go out for a ride, what is your ideal length?
It's hard to say. It depends on the weather.
I mean, assuming the weather is great.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's a decent temperature.
Yeah.
Nice day. Then a whole full day then.
A full day, so like 8 hours of riding.
I don't mind. We have done that.
It's true. I mean, our longest ride is probably like 16 hours. But that was back when we were super excited about EUCs and nothing could stop us from riding.
I mean, 6 hours is pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's a decent amount. I would say
it's not just riding, and there's a lot of connecting with other people too, right?
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say like one charge, a single charge ride is good. I think once you get to the 2 or 3 charge, then
it's not fun.
It becomes more about charging than it does become about riding. So
one charge is about, right?
I think one charge. For me, it's one charge. What's your most memorable ride, or the route that we took, or?
I don't remember. It's been so long. 3 years. Oh God, it's all off.
For me, at least, I will say, my most memorable ride was not because of the ride, not because of the route, but my most memorable ride is when we tried to push the limits of our wheels at the time, and we did not bring fast chargers. We ended up having to charge before we could come home, and we actually limped to the charge spot. And again, it's emotional damage because it was the Emotion V11, but we ended up finding a EV charge spot at a high school in North Vancouver.
Oh, damn.
And we plugged in our wheels, super excited to charge up and go home. And what happened was we ended up sitting there
sleeping on the parking
from daytime to nighttime, probably like 4 or 5 hours. Full sunset before we could go home.
Took a nap and you open your eyes. Oh, stars and moon. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's my most memorable ride. Either that or when we tried to do Triple Crown with S18s. And we ended up in a mall parking lot. We scoured some outlets and we charged there until 2 a.m. and then limped our way home back to Burnaby.
That's funny. I think my most memorable ride was my first time doing a longer ride. That is not in a parking lot, not in a park. I just got off work, got out of the daycare. I got a text, hey, let's go for a ride. And I asked him, oh, are we going to Deer Lake? And
Deer Lake is like 2 kilometers from my house.
Yes. So I thought, oh, nice, we're going to Deer Lake for a ride. I was a new rider. So I didn't dress up properly. I was in my work clothes and I just jumped on the wheel and here we go. And all of a sudden, we're crossing a bridge going to North Van. I asked, where are we going? Seymour Lake. So that time we were riding, I was riding a V11, I think.
I think 16X.
Really?
I think I was riding the V11.
Oh, somewhere there, that's that early.
Yeah.
It's my first long ride. I was wearing a thin jacket, a windbreaker, and we went up a mountain. And I think it's March or April. And it was so cold. So cold. And we didn't gear up properly. I only have a helmet on. And by the time we got home, I couldn't even walk up the stairs. Because it's my first long ride that is not in the park.
We were both new riders, and we ended up going to Seymour Lake because someone recommended it, and I was like super excited. And that ride, in total, it was 60 kilometers of riding
60.
for a new rider. So we were all pretty drained by the end of the
We're
ride.
used to like 10 kilometers max. And now we're going on the road with cars beside me. Oh, what is this? Speed bump. Oh, no service. What is this? That's basically what happened. I need to go up a hill. Oh my gosh, I need to go down a hill. It's not flat. That's basically what happened. Oh, good days.
Good times, good times.
Yeah.
And the last question from Anthony DB_official. When is your wedding?
When is my wedding? Or
When is
your
our
wedding?
wedding? Sorry, I read it.
I don't know.
I think the only thing we can say as of right now is 2025.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Well, so we haven't had time to plan. We haven't had time to film.
Yeah.
We have so much going on in our personal life. So.
And I'm leaving tomorrow morning at 5 or 6 in the morning to go to AVS. So
for 2 weeks. And
there's a lot of
after
things that are
we're going
behind.
to Asia for
Yeah.
like almost
month.
2 months, a month and a half.
Month and a half, yeah.
So there's so much going on. Yeah.
But that vlog will be epic because we are going to go visit all the manufacturers and we're going to hang out with Jack Electric Dreams in China, as well as he's actually providing us with 2 EUCs in Taiwan for us to go and find the Taiwanese riding groups as well. So it'll be a pretty epic EUC trip.
Excited. All right, so that's the end of our Q&A. If you have more questions, comment below and let us know.
Like and subscribe.
And ding dong ding dong. See you in our next video. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.